Julie, marketing has commenced in earnest in the British market. It's such an important market for Irish tourism. Tell us a little bit about the campaign that's underway.
Yes, so we're back live again, and we've launched our Press the Green Button campaign on the 1st of October here in Great Britain. So the campaign is live across Great Britain, so England, Scotland and Wales. It's a multi-million-pound campaign as well, and that means that we are live on TV, on broadcast video on demand, and we also have out-of-home posters, so big posters in city centres and on roadsides, targeted to the key cities with direct access over to the island of Ireland. And then all of that is underpinned with a really comprehensive digital advertising and social media campaign as well. And that will, all of it together will reach 46 million people.
Wow.
And then it's big. It's a really big campaign. It's one of the biggest that we've done for quite a while, actually. So it's great to be live with that.
I know you've been ready to go for ages, but you kind of finally are allowed, if you like, press the green button. Because of the situation we've got to, but is there quite a lot of money, if you like, in the war chest for these few months before Christmas that you can spend?
Yeah, absolutely. So that campaign's a 4.6 million euro campaign, and we're live from the 1st of October right through to the 5th of December. And that's because we do know there's pent up demand. And so the campaign's all around generating demand, but then also driving bookings as well. So it's around getting people over for holidays and short breaks this year. So it is quite a tactical campaign in that way.
Because one of the great things about the British market is that it's seasonal. It comes year round. So there should be a bit of business in Q4 that we can still hope to win.
Yeah, definitely. So working with our GB travel trade partners and also our air and sea access partners, we do know like the inquiries are up and the bookings are up as well. So part of the campaign also is working with all of the air and sea carrier partners that have the access over to the island of Ireland from Great Britain. And so we're live at the moment with a lot of campaigns in that area as well. And so they're in these months at the moment trying to drive the bookings for now really as well. And that's really, really important because that's getting the tactical message out there. It's price point led and really about driving those bookings.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about Britain at the moment, because on the news here in Ireland, we hear about Brexit problems in terms of fuel shortages, Marks and Spencer shelves are empty, So is that having an impact on, say, the British economy, and therefore is there a knock-on impact on British people's ability to sort of, spend a bit of money on a holiday?
Yeah, well, as you'll know, Owen, from when the Brexit referendum happened, Tourism Ireland brought together the task force, the Brexit task force. So that was the tourism leaders from across the island of Ireland meeting up with GB travel trade partners. And that was to look at the opportunities and challenges that we saw for tourism to the island of Ireland because of Brexit. I think what people didn't see coming, obviously, was the devastating impact that COVID-19 was then going to have, which really overshadowed an awful lot of the impact of Brexit initially. But you're right. I think now the supply chain challenges are absolutely coming to the fore, and we are starting to see some of the challenges that Brexit is having as well. But on the other side of that, I suppose, in August, we saw growth here, economic growth in the British market in the UK, and that was largely down to the hospitality and service industries. So August was the first full month when people could be out and about again, going, eating, meeting up with people, going on holiday, and there was a bounce from that sort of in terms of the growth. But I think that it's important in terms of people's household incomes to see that there's a real mixed bag in terms of the impact of COVID. So some reports have shown earlier this year that there have been record levels of savings in terms of household incomes and that people are ready to spend that money. But on the flip side, some of our COVID tracker research has shown that about a third of households have had their household income impacted as a result of COVID as well. And that makes making sure that we're really offering good value for money still really important as well. So it is a bit of a mixed picture.
Yeah, a mixed bag, all right. And just to mention that research, so what does the British consumer, if you like, think of Ireland as a holiday destination? Are they still warm to Ireland and favourable to Ireland?
Yeah, definitely. So we've done a really extensive programme of research in the last year and a half. So between May 2020 and June this summer, we had 8 waves of it was a COVID tracker research in the GB market. So that's looking at consumer sentiment and consumer behaviour as a result of the impact of COVID. We actually have a new wave of the research, which has just come in now. So I haven't got the findings of it yet, but a webinar invite will be going out to people soon, and it'd be worth having a look, joining into that to see what the latest is. But in terms of the June research, let me just have a quick look. In terms of the key takeouts from that, in June, we did definitely see like an uplift in terms of comfort for travel. And that's really important, obviously, as people were starting to get out and about, they're getting a little bit more comfortable with the idea of going out on holiday, but then also taking ferry and taking a flight as well. But the big things are 83% of GB holidaymakers are looking to relax and unwind, and 64% are saying they want to spend time with their loved ones. And that's obviously really crucial for us with the close links between Great Britain and the island of Ireland. It's really important that people we know are trying to come back over and visit family and friends. And so to be spending time with loved ones and coming that VFR market, coming back over is really, really good opportunity. And then a couple of other key takeouts. 72% of people are cited saying that COVID security is still important, but it'll be interesting as well to see how that might have changed as things have relaxed a little bit over here in Great Britain with the new wave of research. And then 78%, as I said, are looking for good value for money. So making sure that we are getting the kind of offers and the value out there is really important. So we are building that into our activity as well. And then when they're on holiday, the GB holidaymakers are saying in terms of the experience they're after, they're looking for the beautiful scenery, the culture, the history, the people, the food and the drink. So it is that holiday experience that we know.
Ireland ticks all those boxes.
Exactly. And then the one last bit I think was really interesting insight that we've taken forward in terms of our campaign planning as well, is that the most appealing type of holiday for a GB consumer is a mix of city and countryside or city and coast. That's what they said is most appealing. So we're building that into a lot of the like publicity itineraries, journalist itineraries, and also our kind of more in-depth content that we're doing in terms of the partnership program as well.
And in terms of Ireland as a location, Julie, I know you and the publicity team in the Tourism Ireland GB market often kind of, you know, if you like, promote Ireland or pitch Ireland to production companies or documentary makers or travel films as a really good location. Is that ongoing? Is there anything in the mix that's interesting or exciting?
Yeah, absolutely. It's actually been an area that we've seen a real amount of interest from TV production companies because they see that the closer to home locations to go to are actually a little bit easier for them at the moment. So whilst we've always had a lot of interest in Ireland, we've seen a massive uptick in that area. So it's really important when we get these production companies over because they do long form content. So 6 or 7 episodes of programs that go out with the long form content, which we know really helps people to understand what there is to see and do in Ireland. So we've had last year we had Adrian Dunbar over doing Coastal Ireland, which got a fantastic response over here. We've had Siobhan McSweeney in Northern Ireland. We had Clodagh McKenna with This Morning doing on location sets for the morning programme over here as well on ITV. And then live at the moment in Great Britain, we have the Golf's Greatest Holes, where we had Paul McGinley going around Ireland doing the most amazing holes and then showing as well lots of B-roll footage of the things to go and see and do locally as well. He had fantastic weather for most of it and it looked absolutely incredible. And that's out on Sky here in Great Britain at the moment with a reach of over 20 million, but it's actually then going to be syndicated out to 110 countries around the world as well with absolutely incredible reach of over 300 million as well. So it's been a real opportunity for us actually getting the production companies over. So we're building the relationship with them and we'll make sure that we're getting so much content for Ireland out on TV here too.
Great. And I suppose a sign of normality or kind of the new normal, but events and trade events are coming back. I was over in London myself a couple of weeks ago when you had a wonderful embassy event with Minister Catherine Martin. I know Flavours of Ireland, I think, was just last week. You've got World Travel Market coming up, albeit in a slightly reduced format. But it's a sign that, you know, normality is resuming somewhat, isn't it?
Yeah, most definitely. The trade events and the trade platforms are really, really important in terms of giving an opportunity for the industry from the island of Ireland to come over and to meet with our GB travel trade partners as well. It's great to see WTM World Travel Market is going to be back at Excel. It will be a live event from the 1st to the 3rd of November, and then the week after is a virtual event. So we have our partners coming over from Ireland for the 1st to the 3rd, as well as joining for the virtual as well. So yeah, we're really looking forward to actually being able to see people in person again. We had BTTS as well a few weeks ago, and the atmosphere there was like really, really positive. People really excited to be back and talking to each other and planning and booking and contracting as well. So it's really good to be back.
Great, yeah. And you talked about the £4 million or €4 million, I'm not sure which it is, campaign, in Q4, which is fantastic, and fingers crossed it converts into good business. Looking forward into next year, I know Tourism Ireland got a budget bounce just recently here in Dublin, so fingers crossed some of that finds its way into your GB market, Julie. What's next year looking like? I suppose one of the main drivers is always air access and sea access. And that's very fluid at the moment. Do you have any handle on what air and sea access will be like? Because that obviously enables tourism, because you can do all the marketing that you want, but you do need good connectivity so that people can actually get here.
Yeah, absolutely. So the restoration of the access is crucial to the recovery, without a doubt. And we're working with all of our air and sea access partners at the moment. So we have a lot of campaigns that are live at the moment, making sure that we are trying to drive those bookings. But driving the bookings then is also about generating demand so that the restoration of the frequency and capacity can come back as well. So it's great to see, for example, Ryanair announcing that their regional routes into Cork and Kerry and Knock next year will be back up. So that's fantastic news to see things like that. But we're working with all of the partners as well to make sure that we can do everything we can to be committed to getting that restoration of access back. And then in terms of the ferry companies as well, we're obviously working with with Irish Ferries, with Stena Line and P&O, and we have campaigns live this quarter through Q3 and Q4 with those partners. And they're seeing good bookings. So over the summer, we know that people were booking ferries, coming over to see friends and family. And then Stena Line's also reported a bit of a bounce from the duty-free shopping opportunity as well. So, there is some light there, and the frequency for the ferries is good. So, there is opportunity, but it is obviously a really, really important area for next year.
Yeah, I think there's much more positivity, I think, about next year. And we're hoping, I think, that, we as the industry can move from survival through to something looking like stability and onwards to recovery, and the GB market is crucial in that regard. So listen, thanks so much for you and the team's hard work, and please send us as many Brits as possible next year.
Thank you. I know, and I should just add as well, you have to cut this back in, but just in terms of the budget, we have in the British market, we are currently planning now our activity into next year. And as you said, we have got a good budget for Tourism Ireland. And so we're working together to plan what the campaigns are going to look like into 2022. But we will be live in Great Britain from the 26th of December, again, with a Kickstart campaign, which is all about Kickstart for 2022. And that will be back on TV. It will be on video on demand, as well as digital and social. And that's a big campaign that we're planning to make sure that we're making the most of that, like, real sort of holiday planning and consideration period that people have. As soon as Christmas is gone, they start to turn their minds to looking at where they're going to go on holiday next year. So it's a crucial time. And then we will build the planning on the back of that into 2022 as well.
Great. Thanks, Julie.
Thanks very much.